Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never, ever alone. Now, here on Invisible Condition, we get it. I get it. Life can be tough. Life can be really tough sometimes. Some days are better than others. Some days just suck. I totally get it. Here's the thing. There's always hope. I just want you to know that there's always hope. If you are struggling with that and you're like, Jeff, you're crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no hope. You're nuts. I lost that a long time ago. Please send me an email. Please send me an email with hope in the subject line. And you don't even have to say anything else. Just put hope in the subject line. I want to help you get that back. Hope is a big deal. It's important. This life runs on hope. So if you lost it, I want to help you find it. Just send me an email. Now, I want to recognize a couple sponsors before we bring our amazing guest on today. Nope, that's not it. That's one. We'll go with that one first. Network Referral Group. I wasn't sure what button I pushed. This is our studio sponsor. So when you saw everything come on, the first thing you saw was live from NRG Studios. Network Referral Group is the number one networking group I've ever been a part of. I mean, I'm not saying there's not better ones out there. I just haven't found it. So NRG is a never-ending source of referrals for me in my business. It is incredible. And so it is the purest form of networking I've ever seen. And it's honestly, for as far as like Zoom, like online networking groups, NRG's ruined me for all the rest of them. When I go to all the other ones, I don't get what I need. I get referrals at NRG. As a business owner, that's what I want. That's what I get. It's a source of never-ending referrals. If that sounds appealing to you, scan the QR code, and Mike, who runs NRG, will get back to you and let you know when the next few meetings are coming up. By the way, he runs 30 Zoom call meetings a week where you have an opportunity to network with people around the country and around the world. That's what I mean, never-ending referrals. Can't wait to see you there. Reach out to Mike, tell him I sent you, and maybe we'll see you there. So, all right. Next thing that I want to tell you about is Hope. Hydro with Hope, to be more specific. That is our nonprofit arm of this show, and that is where this journal comes in. This journal was created a few years ago when we launched this nonprofit because Hydro with Hope is focused on people that are living with hydrocephalus, which is the condition I was born with, and that has resulted in 7 brain surgeries for me, and starting at 2 weeks old, and the last one was in 2021. It's been a wild ride. What I wish I had during all those surgeries is somewhere to write stuff down, so I had something to tell the doctor when he came in the room. That's a large part of what that journal is. Also, there are some fun prompts in there for pictures and all that kind of stuff, but for the most part, that is really something to help you stay on track when you're meeting with your neurosurgeon at follow-ups from surgery. That is the place that I wish I had something to write this stuff down so I wouldn't have to rely on my memory. So this is a donation link right here. If you would like to help us get that journal into more people's hands that need it, that is a wonderful way to do it. You can donate monthly. You can donate once. We love you either way. Thank you for your consideration there. And the last thing that I want to talk to you about is this right here, which is our newest sponsor, which is Jake Ellis is his name, and he deals with Cutco, which is an amazing cutlery company. My parents bought a set of these knives about 40 years ago, longer than that, 45 years ago, 1981. I'm 49. So I was just a little kid when this guy came over and showed them all the cool stuff that Cutco has, and they bought a set of steak knives. Those steak knives are still in their drawer, and they are still as sharp as ever. And so if you need good quality stuff in your kitchen, this is the place to get it. And this is really cool. He also has a corporate thing going on where if you're a realtor, I like to use that example, a realtor, You always give a gift to the person that you helped buy the house, sell the house, right? Housewarming gift, right? This is the perfect housewarming gift. Give them a chef's knife or a set of steak knives or something. You can even engrave your logo and name onto that knife so that every time they use it, they think of you. How cool is that? And every sale, a portion of those profits comes back to Hydro with Hope. Best of both worlds. Best of everybody wins. So scan the QR code and let's and let me know if you do get some. Let me know how it goes, because I love those things. They're fantastic. All right, let's dive in here. My guest today is incredible. I can't wait for you to meet her. She believes that our bodies often carry stories long after our minds have tried to move on. Sandra Lee has spent nearly 4 decades helping people uncover the emotional patterns that unresolved trauma, everybody's got trauma, most of us have unresolved trauma, that unresolved trauma that may be affecting your health. I know everybody thinks that these conditions come out of nowhere and they seek medical treatment for it. But if it's emotionally caused, you've got to seek emotional healing. And that is what Sandra Lee is so amazing at. So she's developed innovative approaches to support brain health, recovery from brain injury, and overall healing. And I have worked with her a little bit, and what she does is absolutely incredible, very unique. I've never seen anything like it. So can't wait to talk about it. Let's bring her on the show and see where this goes. All right, Sandra, thank you so much for being here. This is going to be awesome.
Yes, wonderful to be with you again, Jeff.
This is fantastic. I was just looking, I just saw the email that you sent me with the result, like our follow-up email, like after we met and had the stuff, the brain, I don't know, is it brain training? I'm trying to think of what to call it, but it's almost, I don't want to call it therapy, but anyway, I was just looking at that email thinking, oh man, that was so unique. So we're going to dive into that in just a second. But one thing I want to ask you is I ask everybody this at the beginning of the show, and that is, on hard days, because everybody has hard days, on hard days, how do you still maintain hope?
On days when things seem like they're impossible and I don't know what to do, the only thing that gets me through is trusting that ultimately it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I might have no idea how to get there, but I have to trust that God and the universe are going to make it all okay in the end. And literally, that is the only thing that makes it possible for me to survive sometimes.
Love it. It's true. Sometimes that's all it is. That's all you got. I totally get it. Yeah, it's 100%. Well, and by the way, before I forget, before we get too far into the discussion here, I want to make sure that everybody out there, those of you that are watching, thank you for being here. Wherever you're watching, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, those are all amazing places to drop a comment during the show. So if something that I say or something that probably more like something Sandra says, you have to listen to me every time she's here today. So if there's something that Sandra says that you go, light bulb comes on, or you have a question about, just drop a comment in there, and we'll get back to you, and maybe we can have a conversation. So yeah, let's dive in, man. The work you're doing is absolutely amazing, and I've actually experienced it, so I can say that with some knowledge. What in the world motivated you to do this such different work? This is so different.
Well, now I am helping people who have brain injuries like accidents, car accidents, strokes, falls, to be able to recover function. And how I came to do that is I have been doing massage therapy, like you said, for almost 40 years, and started off with craniosacral bodywork.
Yep.
And craniosacral works with the very small motions of the bones of the head and the spine and the structures and the membranes and the fluids.
Yep.
And I started seeing the bones and the motion before I even took a class. And this was very early in my massage therapy career. I started seeing in my mind the image of the bones and their movement before anybody taught me about them. I was reading the book. And this is an indication to me, oh, I must be doing the right thing, like taking this class.
Sure.
And so since then, it kind of evolved. So I see this motion, and I see when it's stuck, and I see the issues that are attached to the bones, the issues that are attached to the membranes or the positions or whatever. So I see the trauma, I see the impact of thoughts and beliefs and the places where we get stuck. So as part of all this, I see where energy is moving. And I think you know what I mean by energy, the energy flow that goes through everything that makes it so everything works. Everything is alive and everything functions when the energy is flowing. When the energy gets stuck, it keeps function from happening. It keeps pain or discomfort in place. It keeps me out of the flow when energy gets stuck.
Yeah.
And it looks kind of like, to me, it's like a light switch. It's like I may be feeling good and wonderful, and then suddenly I get worried or I get afraid, and whoop, the energy gets stuck. Instantaneous.
Yeah.
And this really highlights for me the power of thoughts.
Yeah, totally.
The power of beliefs, right? And, you talk about invisible condition. The effect of this might be completely invisible physically. Nobody else may have an idea that there's something going on, and yet you might be completely paralyzed inside because of what you're thinking.
Yes.
The fears that you're thinking, the worries, the beliefs, the lack of hope, whatever it is that has you be stuck. So to me, that looks like, this energy gets stuck. And where the energy gets stuck is oftentimes where somebody might have pain, discomfort. So a very common place where I see this, and now that I'm focusing on head issues, very frequently that block is here at the top of the neck, between the neck and the head.
Yep.
And in this area, we have the throat, the throat chakra, the area where self-expression occurs, communication occurs. So now let's look at, I think you believe, like I believe, that things that happen early in life affect what I think and believe is possible and affects where I get stuck now.
Yes.
So if something in my childhood happened that led me to feel like I don't have the ability to be seen and heard, that can show up like a block in the throat chakra. So, in my case, right, I had physical injuries and childhood trauma. I had a rollover car accident that understandably gave me whiplash, and then an ex-husband choked me. So I had legitimate physical reasons for having messes going on with my neck. But I also had, in childhood, all sorts of things that happened that led me to feel like I couldn't express myself. I couldn't be heard. And so the combination of those two things had it get pretty stuck.
Well, not to mention the emotional damage that's done when your husband literally chokes you. I mean, there's physical there, obviously, but the emotional damage that does too doesn't.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
So as an energy healer, an energy practitioner for almost 40 years, right? Part of me wants to believe that it's possible to heal these things energetically through mental and emotional healing. I have, in theory, believed that for a really long time, but I hadn't experienced it personally. So there was this doubt, right? And it wasn't until last year, like 2025, that I actually healed what needed to be healed to be able to resolve that. Okay. So I do neurolinguistic programming in addition to all of the energy stuff that I do. And neurolinguistic programming says, okay, so what in the past happened that led to the beliefs that are stopping you now? And I knew that all of it happened when I was 6 months old. I don't have to go into all the details, but I knew that that's what happened. Okay. So I was in an NLP session, and I said, and I was in resistance. My unconscious mind was like, no, I am not going to believe that this is going to go away.
It can't be that easy. right?
Yeah, yeah. And so my practitioner said, okay, what do you need to know to be able to believe that you can release this?
Yes.
And I said, what I need to know is I need the pain in my neck and head to go away. Because I have chronic, headaches and neck pain from this all history, right?
Yeah.
I want the pain to go away. And then I will believe that all this stuff can go away.
Okay.
So I'm in this session, okay? And I'm talking to my mother when I was 6 months old, right? Sobbing, snot all over the place, and over all this stuff,
Yeah.
all the things I had to say to her, all the things I wanted to say, all that stuff, right? It's just coming out, coming out, coming out.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's like, time stood still and like colors looked different and the pain was gone.
Nice.
Yes, this works. So
Yeah.
even if there are physical symptoms, which very often there are, and sometimes, so it's like both of my NLP teachers had diagnosis of the C word. Familiar with that, right? And they chose not to get the recommended treatment. They had the surgery and then they did it all with neurolinguistic programming and taking your health, nutrition, right? Movement, all the health related things that we know we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
They did all those things,
Mhm.
optimize their diet, right? And C word is no longer an issue.
Yeah. Nice.
So NLP, working with your beliefs, the things that stop you, these invisible parts of the condition, right? Those are the thoughts
Yeah.
and the beliefs
Seriously.
that hold you back, right?
Yes.
So when you do the mental and emotional healing, it really is possible to take care of physical things.
Absolutely. Yep. In fact, my co-host that is with me twice a month on the show, Michelle, I like to say 99% because I don't want to, let's leave that 1% for margin of error. Okay. All right. It's actually more like 100%, but we're going to say 99 just so we don't get any nasty emails, right? So 99% of the things out there, like diabetes, like chronic fatigue syndrome, like fibromyalgia, like all those things that people just all of a sudden have, there is always, and I don't usually what I usually say is always and never are two things you should always remember never to say. But in some cases it is always. There is a root of that. There is an emotional root. And where people get hung up is they try to find that the emotional problem, they try to heal it with physical medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And it never works. It doesn't work because it's an emotional problem. And you went about it a perfect way. You went about it, you dove in emotionally and took care of things,
Yeah.
So that's that's the message that I love to get across is
Yeah.
that is be open to that is all I'm saying.
What I believe that if there's physical things to do,
Yes.
it can be valuable to do them.
100%.
And
Yes.
I don't believe it's possible to get complete resolution of issues unless you address the mental and emotional as well.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
I work with both.
Perfect. Tell me, so let's explore that. So you work with both. So when you and I had a session together and it was something very physical. It was on a Zoom kind of thing. And so it was, we weren't in the same room together, but there was a very physical component to it because my brain was exhausted afterwards. But then there's also a very emotional aspect to it too. So, which is very different because I've talked to people that do similar things, but they don't tie the emotional piece in. So dive in there. Tell us why that's unique for what you do.
I like to trust that the person's body knows what they need.
Yeah.
They know what it's ready to work on, and it knows what it needs to get there.
Yes.
So in neurolinguistic programming, we work with the conscious mind, which is what you're conscious and aware of, the things you say, the things you know, and then the unconscious mind, the things that are involved that you're not aware of, like really not aware of. In
Yeah.
that big NLP healing, there were things that I knew about it, and then there were things that I was not aware of. And so it took me working with a practitioner to help me make connections that I was never going to make on my own.
Yeah.
So the unconscious mind knows what those things are that you need, and then it has to find a way to get it into your awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this is where it's really valuable working with someone else.
Yes.
Because if I'm left to my own devices, I run the same old loops over and over and over again. I play the same tape on repeat.
Yep.
And it takes taking information from someone else's mind, them saying something that's totally outside of my head,
Yep.
dropping that into it's like, whew, that's what enables the new realizations to take place. So, for example, in my NLP training, I was working with one of the coaches, and I said the thing that I had said over and over and over again about the thing that happened when I was 6 months old. I said, I gave up, and I decided I had to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And she said, and you decided you had to take care of everybody else too.
Oh.
Like, whew, oh my goodness. I had no idea that was in there, but as soon as she said it, it made absolute sense.
Yes.
And me being a control freak, having to take care of everybody and everything else, having to be perfect, all this stuff resulted from making myself responsible, not just for myself at 6 months old, but responsible for everyone else too. And it's like that changed everything, having that realization. So that piece coming in, putting the pieces together that was never going to come to me on my own. Right? Enables me to go down a whole different set of steps and actually resolve things and let them go.
Well, and for those of you who are watching, and you're going, how in the world are you supposed to know that? Like, you don't know what you don't know. Please don't beat yourself up about that. Like, I have come to so many in the last 2 months. I swear, if we had 12 hours to tell stories, I still couldn't cover everything that's happened in the last month or two. There have been so many things, and I had no clue. It took somebody else coming. It's like the out-of-town expert with the briefcase, right?
Yes.
It's like your parents can tell you the same thing 1,000 times, and then somebody that you don't see every day tells you the exact same thing the exact same way, and you hear it that time, right? Sometimes you just don't know what you don't know until you do.
And it could be you're not quite in the right place yet.
You're not ready for it yet.
You haven't had the right things happen yet. It could be just not the right time. It could be not the right person. Whatever it is, right? And, the unconscious mind, this was a huge piece when I was in neurolinguistic programming training. Your unconscious mind holds these things out of your awareness to protect you.
Yes.
I was not capable of, when I was 6 months old, processing all of the stuff that was going on, completely incapable on a neurological level. But even something that happens as an adult, you might not be able to complete it. So your unconscious mind says, oh, we got to store this away, because if I were to be consciously aware of all of the stuff that was unresolved, I wouldn't be able to function.
Nope.
Like day to day.
Right.
So, but the unconscious mind holds on to that stuff, trusting that at some point I am going to be able to go in and open that storage and look at that and deal with it.
Yep.
But the only way for me to be conscious of what's unconscious is something in my life has to have me look at it.
Yes.
And sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's a pain, or it's an illness or an accident or a fight. Who knows what it is? But the circumstance happens that makes me look at, whoa. So it's like being helpless and out of control, and I don't know what I'm doing. Life was over and over and over again, shoving that in front of my face.
Yeah.
And it took doing the right process, getting the right help to be able to process myself through that, so that, I'm no longer, I used to be like so afraid of making a mistake, I was paralyzed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was not going to get it through that on my own until I got the help. Now, making mistakes is normal, and it's not that I like it, but I can handle it. And so taking those big pieces out and resolving them is what allows these pieces that are in the physical symptoms, whatever,
Mhm.
to like be released.
Right. Yeah, you've got to, the awareness has to be there. And if you aren't arriving at that awareness by yourself, it's okay. Like I said, you don't know what you don't know sometimes. So that's where somebody else coming in and showing that, shining that light on it, that's the only, that's it. And then you got to be careful when that happens, not to feel, not to shame yourself for not knowing it in the first place, and not to
Yeah,
feel
yeah, yeah.
guilty because, oh my gosh, why did I not, how did I not know that?
Yeah.
Because that can be damaging too. Don't go down that road. That's not a good road to be on. So
Yep.
yeah, so just trust the process and
Yeah.
go,
So now let me describe what it's like when I'm working with people now. Okay.
Yes.
So I use a tuning fork and a hockey puck and I do sound healing, right?
Love it.
And this amplifies what I perceive. Okay. So I do this and I get an image in my mind. If I'm working with a brain, then I see an image of the brain. If I'm working with a shoulder, I see an image of the shoulder. Okay. So I
Nice.
see an image of the brain in my mind and of the bones and of the energy flowing or stuck.
Mhm.
And then I also see what's attached to it.
Ooh.
The stress, the fear, the worry, the accident, whatever it is that is in that area that is stored. And and the energy gets stuck and I help the energy to move.
Beautiful.
So let me describe my favorite story to share.
Yes.
Is about a friend of mine who was in a really bad car accident, devastating car accident 2 years ago. Lost the ability to walk and talk, lost sensation. She had to learn everything over again.
Man.
And she was in continuous treatment from the beginning, which was really fortunate because not everybody has the benefit
yeah.
of that. And so she regained the ability to walk and talk, but it wasn't going very well, right? Because when you regain these things from zero, it's like learning them again, learning to walk like you were a baby,
Yeah.
learning to talk again like you're a child. You don't, it doesn't just poof, come back.
Right.
You have to build it again, like
Yes.
one piece at a time. So she had rebuilt the ability to walk and talk, and she just, it wasn't going very well, but is better than nothing, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the first time I worked with her was just doing the sound healing 7 months into her healing process. And I was working on her, getting this image in my mind and saying to her what was coming up. So people's bodies talk to me. I get information and then I tell them back and then they receive it and things change. Okay. So I was doing this with her and she said, I can hear crunching metal sounds
Ooh.
releasing from my brain.
Wow.
Her brain was releasing some of the trauma from the accident.
Love it.
And she said, it feels like I can breathe in my brain better. So instead of being dark and tight and dense, she started being able to breathe again, which is pretty amazing.
That's incredible.
Okay. That was just with the intuitive sound healing I do.
Yeah.
So move forward a number of months. I do a couple of other sessions with her, but they weren't significant like that one.
Sure.
So then I added a neuroplasticity chart. It's a chart that's got a bunch of colorful arrows on it.
Yep.
And this was developed by John Kennedy. He's a neuroplastician, and it was developed at the request of the U.S. military to support soldiers in healing from brain injuries. And so he developed it, and it works.
Love it.
Like it actually helps the brain to be able to repair itself. It helps with brain injuries. It helps with PTSD. It helps with focus issues, emotional balance. It helps with a lot of different things. And so he does this and he teaches people to do it, including me. So I learned to do this. And I thought, hey, this is pretty cool, right? So I combined it with the intuitive sound healing that I do. Now's when the story gets really amazing. So I am working with this friend of mine who was in this car accident now 2 years ago. And I'm working with her, like this was just in May. So it's only a couple of months ago. So it's almost 2 years into her recovery. Okay. So I teach her how to do the arrows. And then she is reading it while I am doing this and working on her brain. And she says, I can feel my eye connecting to my brain better.
What?
It's like, whoa, that was kind of cool.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Now, before the session began, I said, "How are you doing?" And she said, in December, meaning a year and a half into her recovery,
Yeah.
I started having sensation in my palm. Just starting to have sensation in her palm a year and a half into recovery. Okay.
Wow.
So at the end of the session, I said, "How's your hand?" And she said, "It feels like I have sunshine in my palm." And she says, "I haven't been able to articulate my wrist, and now I can."
Wow.
So she was able to use her hand better. I said, "Stand up and walk." She said, "I haven't been able to feel the position of my foot, and now I can." So she was able to stand on her feet better. Instead of having them collapse in, she could
Yeah.
stand on them flat, and she could walk better. That's a crazy amount of improvement to have in one session.
Seriously.
Yeah, really. Because people
Yeah.
go to physical therapy and physical therapy and physical
Years.
therapy. And then
Yeah.
every little gain is very hard won when it comes to that. So this is a lot of change. But that wasn't it. Okay. A couple of days later, she messaged me and she said, "I'm no longer tripping over logs in my mind."
Oh.
Trying to put her thoughts together to be able to speak was easier, so she could speak more easily.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? All of that changed
Seriously.
with one session. So what's different, right? What's different from me just doing sound healing to suddenly getting this kind of crazy result?
Yeah.
The chart helps the brain connect things up. It helps it integrate what is going on.
Yeah.
So it helps the brain and the body learn and establish reconnections, new nerve synapses, new connections to build pathways in again so that the function comes back more easily.
Yeah.
How does physical therapy work, right? If I
Right.
can't move my arm, right, the physical therapist starts by moving my arm for me, and that's communicating, "Nervous system, we want you to learn this," right?
Mhm.
And so over time, it gets so I can move it myself, right? And then I have strength. So by
Yes.
repeating something over and over and over again, you're telling your brain, "We need this," and your brain builds in new nerve connections, right? So we take something that the brain is not able to coordinate. It's not able to do it properly, like, say, ability to walk, okay?
Sure.
So we say, "Okay, we want you to do this. We want you to do this." We demand it over and over and over again. This is how physical therapy works, right? We
Yeah.
demand it over and over again, and the
Repetition.
brain
Yeah.
says, "Oh, this is really important. Jeff must really want this." And so it builds in a new synapse, a new nerve connection.
Yep.
And then another one, and another one, and another one. This is how you relearn how to walk, how to talk, how to get your sensation back, right? So
Yep.
by having her repeat these arrows while I am working on her and requiring her system to function, right? So it's
Mhm.
like she is having to make decisions while she's doing the chart. She's having to speak. She's having
Yeah.
to work with her eyes, work all that stuff, requiring all these things to coordinate, right? This helps her brain say, "Oh, we need to be able to do this better." So she's able to speak better. And at the same
Yeah.
time, she's able to use her hand. She's able to walk better. Pretty amazing stuff.
Wow. It is amazing stuff. And then it's funny because when I met you, you were talking about the arrow, and as soon as you showed me the visual with the arrows, right? And I was like, "Oh, I've seen this before. I did this with somebody else about 6 months ago," right? And I was like, "Oh yeah, we walked through the thing," and they said, "Yeah, do it, what the colors are, and then assign them to fruits, and then what direction, and all the right." And then you get more complicated and serpentine and all the you can do all kinds of crazy stuff, and it just works your brain out and gets it more, and then you do the simple stuff even faster. You go back to this anyway. It's this whole process, right? But it was all about just the brain, just the physical, the brain, the part of the to help you with your memory and your thinking and that kind of stuff. It had nothing to do with the emotional attachment to other stuff that are associated with it. And so I thought when we talked the first time that I was like, "Yeah, this will be great. I've done this. This is old news, baby. I got this." And then you threw that emotional piece in there and it kind of knocked me back in my chair a little bit.
Yeah.
So
So
this is different. This is
we're
really cool.
we're taking the content of your life,
Yeah.
the issues, the things that you're struggling with, the places where you're stuck, the things that you're thinking, and having you think about those at the
Yeah.
same time so that your brain is able to integrate those as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Okay. So this client, right? Money is an issue. She's barely started working again after 2
Yeah.
years.
Sure.
So money is an issue. So she decided to work on money. And so we did the same thing. Okay. And all of the history associated with money and all the kinds of stuff came in. So after that session, she said, well, during the session, she said, it feels like my palate lifted. So the palate's the back of the roof of the mouth. She felt like her palate lifted. And at the end, she said, it feels like my throat opened like a broad horizon.
Hey, there's that throat thing from before. Yeah. Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
ability to express herself, to speak her truth,
Yeah.
completely changed from the years of having it suppressed in her, throughout growing up, right? She is able to speak better. She can laugh now without it getting caught in her throat. Writing is easier. So it's like integrating this into this helped all of that. Plus, her ability to walk dramatically increased.
Nice.
She had said that she was practicing walking on 6-inch curbs in her neighborhood to improve her balance. Because she's learning how to walk again, right? So she said that she could walk on the curb for 4 steps. After this session, she messaged me back. She said, I walked for 20 feet
No.
and I was on the curb for 6 feet before I fell off.
Wow.
Huge change.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, and I don't know why my mind just went here, but I imagine that this has more applications than just I had surgery. I had a traumatic thing happen. I had a traumatic car accident. Now I need to relearn a bunch of stuff. I imagine that this could be applied to releasing things from your past in order to do better with your family, to do better in a business situation.
Anything.
Better in a, yeah. I mean, this could apply to every aspect of life. What you do here, you do everywhere, right? So if you're stuck here, you don't even know it, but you're probably stuck in other places similarly, right?
Mhm.
So yeah.
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 Yeah. So
Amazing.
we can work on anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody's different, right?
Yes.
So
Now
there's always-
I do have another story I want to tell. Okay.
Do it.
About
Yeah.
the chart by itself.
Yes.
Okay. So I worked 2 1-hour sessions with a group of seniors in a residential senior facility. Okay. With just the chart.
Mhm.
I wasn't working on them individually. There's a group of people and I taught them how to do the chart. So, and then I stopped being able to go there for reasons. And one of those people contacted me back. And she said she had continued using the chart. Okay. And she said, I read a novel for the first time since I had a stroke several years ago.
Wow.
So using the chart, and again, I didn't do this with her, using the chart helped her brain recover from the residuals of her stroke so she could read a novel.
Mm.
There are so many people who reading is their favorite activity.
Yeah.
And very commonly when people have head injuries, strokes, accidents, falls, they lose the ability to read.
Yes. Or read easily anyway. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, it could be painful, reading. And so reading for pleasure stops being something that people do. Right?
That's been gone for me for decades. Reading for pleasure? Are you kidding me? No.
Yeah.
No.
So for her to be able to get that back
That's amazing.
was huge.
Yeah.
And I was only minimally involved. I just taught her to use the chart.
Wow.
So the chart helps your brain heals itself every day of your life. Whether or not you have somebody to work with you, your brain knows how to heal itself. And working with a practitioner like me with the chart is really helpful. The chart helps. Every time you read the chart, it helps your brain.
Yes.
It increases the circulation. It helps it develop the new synapses and all of that. So the chart itself isn't enough. For most people, you really benefit from working with a practitioner. And I take it so far beyond just the chart.
Yeah.
With, you heard me talking about all the stuff that I'm doing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and part of this, what I heard when you were telling the story of this last woman that you were working with in the home, she took responsibility for her own healing
Mm-hmm.
because you weren't able to go back there after a while, right? And but you weren't it's almost like you worked your way out of a job. It was like, here's all the stuff you need. And if you take take responsibility for your own healing, you can do it for yourself. If you have the tools, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's the idea, right? You don't want to have to come back and do this all over again with everybody. You'd never have the time for that. You have too many people to help, So
so when I work with people, I give them a digital copy of the chart and have them print it.
yes.
Because I want them to read the chart every day on their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not there every day.
Right.
And then when I see them again, they've made more progress because they're helping themselves.
Yeah.
Empower people to
Yes.
help themselves.
Yes. And the brain chart is that's what you're calling the brain chart.
Yes.
With the arrows and
Yes.
Yeah. It seems like it's so simple. Like once I'm telling you, by the way, scan the QR code, meet with Sandra, and you'll get to see the chart. It is the simplest. It's almost ridiculous how simple it is. Like you look at it and you go, what? What is this going to do? It's just a bunch of arrows of colors and, but it's not always what's on the page. It's how you use it,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So John Kennedy,
Amazing.
the creator of the system, he has, like a paper, looking at the science of what it is that's happening when you
Yeah.
use the chart and why it matters. So there is some like scientific backing to this having a real effect.
Mhm.
And, the truth is science and medicine don't really know what's happening with the brain.
Not as much as I think they do. Nope.
They don't,
Mm-mm.
right? It's far more complex, a system than any supercomputer could possibly be. Is
Seriously.
the brain that you have in your head, everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's able to do miracles.
Yes.
Your brain is.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Sometimes it needs a little encouragement or a little help.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I would say, and it depends on that. Sometimes different tools do different things at different times, right? So, for instance, in 2014, 2 back-to-back brain surgeries, had 3 weeks in a hospital, ended up having migraines that persisted for a year. It was
Mm-hmm.
awful, nonstop migraines. Went to everything I could think of. What actually worked was neurofeedback. Right? Neurofeedback. We hooked up little wires or whatever. For those of you that have watching the show for a while, you know what neurofeedback is. In fact, I had the guy that helped me get rid of the migraines on the show. It was awesome. So that helped. And within a month, the migraines were gone. They've never come back. It's a beautiful thing. Here's the thing. In 2021, had surgery, had another brain surgery, had another one in 18, and then had one in 2021. In 2021, I had some crazy side effects too. So I thought, hey, let's go back and try the neurofeedback again. It helped so much in 2014. Well, it didn't do a thing that time. Didn't touch the symptoms that were going on there. I had to go to a different type of thing, and it happened to be something with the vagus nerve, and that helped. But the point is, there are tools out there. It might not be the same tool for everything, and it might not be the same tool for everybody. But just keep looking. Just keep looking. The tools are out there. And Sandra can help you with those tools.
Yes.
That's the deal.
There are elements of it
Yes.
where you're learning to help yourself.
Yes.
So with the neurofeedback, for example, right? It gives you a signal so that you recognize when something is happening, so you can then choose a thought process, choose to do something energetic. So you figure out, what do I need to do to be able to get this result?
Yes.
And so it's an accelerated, basically, way of trial and effect, cause and effect, that you're like, oh, when I do this, this works. When I do this, this happens.
Yep.
Right? So that you learn to be able to help yourself.
Yes.
The other time, that might not have been the issue,
Right.
or you already had everything you needed in that, but you needed something else too. And
Exactly.
so finding another practitioner. So it's like, what happens with people when they have, these major brain injuries
Yeah.
is a lot of times they get to this place where they feel like, they've had all of the improvement they're going to have, and a doctor may tell them that, right? And you just have to get used to it.
Ugh. That would.
And
Yep.
and
Yep.
they lose hope. They don't believe that it is possible for them to get better. They
Yeah.
don't believe that it's possible for them to function again, or whatever it is that isn't working properly. And what we encourage you to do is not give up.
Yes.
Your brain heals itself. It's the brain healing it. It's not me doing it,
No.
right? I
Right.
am not a doctor. I don't diagnose. I don't treat. I just see what energies in, and I help it move.
Yep.
And I give you instructions. I
Yeah.
receive intuitive information and I tell you, right?
Yeah.
It's your brain, your body is doing the healing.
Yeah.
And I am just like pulling little triggers and pushing buttons.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, the doctor in 2014, we went back and said, "What can we do, doc? Do you have any ideas?" And he I love this. I don't fault him. I have no ill will towards him at all about this, but he literally said, "Geez, I'm sorry. I guess you're just gonna have to live with headaches." So that told me that it
Hmm.
was up to me to find the solution. He did what he could do. He didn't have any other solutions. Now it's up to me. Sometimes it's up to you. You
Yep.
know, you got to go find it. So, yeah.
The people who get better are the ones who are totally committed.
Yes.
And they say, no matter what it takes, I'm getting better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and,
Yeah.
the doctors are infamous for saying, this is as good as it gets. And
Nothing
they
else
may
we can do.
say,
Yeah.
yep, you're not going to walk again, or you're not going to whatever, whatever it is they say.
Yeah.
And it's the people who is like, okay, you can choose to believe that if you want. I'm doing it.
That's right. Watch me. Yeah.
Those are the people who are so determined that they get better.
That's right. That's right. Well, there's a classic example. I've had this gentleman on twice. I think it was once in season 2 and once in season 7. His name's Leland Holgate Sr. Go look up his episodes. He was paralyzed from the neck down because of a water skiing accident, and then he was also quadriplegic because of and then he through targeted breath work brought himself back. He was perfectly normal after about 2 years, just walking with a little cane. And then he got in a car wreck, paraplegic. He said, "Well, I did it once. I'll do it again." He's walking again. I mean, it's all up here. I mean,
Yes.
he did not listen to the doctors were like, "Here's your wheelchair. Good luck." And so, but who wants to listen to that? He wasn't listening to that. So, and you don't have to either.
Yes.
So,
I tell people what you think and feel are instructions to your body.
yes.
I describe the anatomy and physiology to people.
Yeah.
I want them to know as much as possible about how this thing works. I have a bachelor's in chemistry, and so I like
Hey.
explaining the science to people of
Yeah.
things that they don't on their own understand, and that empowers them to be able to help themselves.
Yes.
And so I
Yeah.
receive information about whatever, and I tell them, and then I say, the energy is stuck here, and I say, you want that energy to move. I'm telling them,
Yep.
you intend this. So I am working from outside, and they're working from inside.
Yeah.
And I call this the witnessed body approach, right? I am witnessing, and they are witnessing. I'm outside, they're inside, and together we get things to shift.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you tell yourself is powerful.
Yes.
Everything down to, if you get stuck in a negative emotion, if you get stuck in a negative thought and you loop, you're looping whatever negativity is programmed into that. You're programming that into your body.
You're just driving it deeper, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true. The mind is a powerful thing. Use it for good, not for evil. For
And
sure.
only you can do that.
That's right. That's right. That's
Only
right.
you can do that.
Exactly. Well, I'll tell you what, this has been amazing. This has been so powerful. We have about 2 or 3 minutes left. Time flies when we're having fun. In this last couple of minutes, what parting thoughts would you like to leave with our audience?
Again, your brain heals itself every day of your life. And if it's not your brain that's the issue, your body heals itself every day. So whatever it is you have going on, trust and just keep going. And it might seem like, all the directions are dead ends, but keep going.
Yeah.
If you don't have two things, it's not going to happen. You have to have belief and you have to have hope. Belief and hope. And what I find has really been great about using this brain chart is it enables me to show something measurable to the person pretty quickly, that there is some change possible.
Yeah.
Because people are dubious.
Yeah.
Are you actually going to be able to help me? And is a totally understandable
Skepticism
doubt.
is, of
Yep.
course. Of course.
But if I can show people a little bit of improvement, like the first time you read the arrows, it took this amount of time. And
Right.
when we read it again, it's like, oh, it was faster and it was smoother, right? That's a change. And so when people see that there is a change, that says like, oh, like maybe it really is possible for me. And there's a seed of hope that becomes available. And that gives space for belief to then come in.
Absolutely.
If you don't have hope and belief, then you're sunk. With
Dead in
hope
the
and
water.
belief, anything is possible.
I love that. It's 100% true. Yes. And that's why I talk about it so much at the beginning of the show, during the show, after the show. Hope, man, that's my jam, man. That's where I live in that world, man. Hope is awesome. So, man, well, Sandra, thank you so much. I know I only have an hour time slot, but sometimes I wish I could have two, because I'm sure there's more stories to tell, and always, but God, what an amazing testimony and amazing stories. Thank you so much for being here and for joining us and sharing your story with our amazing audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jeff. It's wonderful to be here.
Absolutely. No way. That was so cool. Oh, man. All right. Wait. Did I hit that button? I think I did. Hold on. There we go. All right. Telling you. I don't know what it is about my screen today. Everything just shrunk. I can't see everything. It's crazy. Technology, right? Thank you so much for being here today. This was so cool. I love shows like this. And no matter where you were watching today, comment. Please comment. You can comment even after the live show's over. You know that, right? Like this forever. This is on, E360 and Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn. Like you could go back to, I have people that go back and comment on, they watch the show again, like a year later, 6 months later, 2 months later, and they hear something they didn't hear the first time. And they throw a comment in there. They're like, oh my gosh, this was awesome. So I would highly recommend that you do that. I mean, yes, you're watching it right now. And thank you for being here. You learn something different every time you watch. And so with any of our episodes, that's the case. So thank you for watching. And please join us for our next episode, which is going to be Tuesday. I almost lost it for a second. Almost lost the visual there. Tuesday, August 25th is our next show. So join us for that on Tuesday. And till we see you next time, have an amazing day. And we'll see you soon.